Things I think I would have done differently is to partner with a really good financial person who is interested in money, to leave me to be focused totally on design. Because when I first went into my bank manager, he had called me and said, "Clodagh, I want to see your books." And I went in and said, "Mr. Mooney, why do you want to see what I'm reading?"
I think the financial goal were never my goal. The goal was always to know that if I can provide quality and a great service, people will come. People will come to us. And that's what's happening. We've always been busy. We've been able to get great exposure through a PR campaign that we have. You know, simple things like publishing a book was a huge thing for us because the book was sold all over the world. And then we had another book came out 5 years later, did the same thing. So exposure is good.
You know, when it comes to finances or how I run my business to make a profit, one of my main rules is I never adjust or lower my fees. I think it is what it is. That's what I charge. I don't think I charge way outrageously. And that's what I require to run my business.
People are very unrealistic about budgets. They don't really realize how much things cost, especially today. They talk about no inflation, but inflation has been rampant in this business.
When it comes to budget, it is in our contract. I require a client to give me what their budget is because it is very important to know from the beginning what my boundaries are.
Indecision is the biggest killer in our business. It can ruin a house, it can ruin a room, it can ruin a client relationship, it can ruin your perspective on the future. It's really very difficult. You know, if you're an artist, you paint a canvas and they don't like something, you can paint it out. But when you're decorating, you painted the whole room a certain color and I don't think I like it. And I had a client once who cried over the color eggplant on her living room walls until it was done and everything was in the room and she loved it. But if they don't have the vision, they have to see it, you know.
When we present everything at once. So once they have approved it, we bill it, you know, or invoice if it's a one-of-a-kind piece. So that locks the process. If you're going step by step, today we're going to look at sofas, tomorrow we're looking at fabrics, next week at antiques, all of a sudden it's giving that client time to change their mind. And I want them, not just the fact of them not changing their mind, but I want them to see a complete vision so they understand what we're trying to propose for them.
Well, I'm a cardinal sign, and I'm one track. If I want to do something and I know it's right, I'll go on till I literally have to give up. You know, the project's finished and it's over. So somebody asked me once what my character is, and I said, well, I'm a sensitive army tank. And my husband was standing beside me, and he said, not that sensitive. So I will go on and on and on till I get my way, because if I know it's the right thing to do, and I say it's way outside my contract. It's not part of an interior design contract to bring the best landscape designer, the best, you know, the best feng shui master, the best lighting designer. It's not often part of that contract.
We have projects now in 17 countries, so we've been all over the world. So and we find how great that global market is. So even through the recession that we went through in 2008, the firm kept growing because we were doing a lot of work in Asia, for instance, a lot of work in the Middle East. So you're less subject to an area that could affect your financial well-being by being open a lot more to the world.
In Buddhism, they talk about putting your attention on your intention. And one of the things we do is we actually isolate companies where we like their philanthropic side, their environmental side, and we isolate them and we approach them and say, would this be a good match? And very often it is, and we go ahead and do it.
I try to run a very conservative business. I know I cannot live at the same way that my clients live. And I think a lot of designers make the mistake that they forget that they don't have the money that the clients have. So I always try to stay in a very sort of conservative way of living and running my business.
I had a client once who she had a house in the country, and she picked out some wallpaper, and I said, well, I wouldn't use it, but if you want it, okay. So she had it installed, and it was bamboo trees, bushes, whatever. And he had the man hung it upside down, and I walked in just jokingly. I said, oh, it's nice paper, but it looks good here, but it's upside down. And we looked at it, and it was upside down. It was really funny. That was the last thing she did on her own.